Imagine finally getting a grant for your movie. You get approved, you get the money, and you're still not fully funded. Because most independent films aren't financed by one source. They are financed by a stack, multiple sources working together. And understanding that stack can completely change how you think about building a film. When most people think about film funding, grants are usually the first thing that comes to mind. Organizations like Sundance, Film Independent, Black Star, Black Film Space, and Black Public Media have helped independent filmmakers move projects forward. And grants matter. Getting the grant is a big win, but it usually is not enough to fund the entire film, because grants are only one layer of the stack. The next layer is access. A lot of filmmakers hear about fellowships, labs, pitch programs, and assume they're educational opportunities. Sometimes they are. But they are also something else. They are access. Access to producers, access to distributors, access to investors. Access to people who can open doors that might have otherwise stayed closed. Sometimes the money isn't the first thing. Sometimes the room is the funding. Then there are physical sponsorships. This term sounds complicated, but the idea is pretty simple. A nonprofit organization sponsors your project. That allows supporters to make tax-deductible donations to your film. For documentaries and community-focused projects, that can become an important fundraising tool. Then eventually comes the conversation every filmmaker wants to have: investors. But investors usually aren't looking for a project the same way a grant community does. They want to see preparation, a script, a budget, a timeline, a pitch deck, a distribution strategy. They want confidence that a filmmaker understands both the creative side and the business side. And that's where many filmmakers discover something important. Money rarely shows up first. Evidence usually does. A completed scene, a trailer, a short film, a website, an audience, a previous project, and that becomes proof. And for independent filmmakers, proof becomes a bridge between idea and a funded project. Here's where things get interesting. None of this is new. Black filmmakers have been building funding stacks for over a century. For more than 100 years ago, Oscar Micheaux was building independent films outside the traditional system. He raised money through supporters, community networks, and distributed directly to Black theaters, churches, and community spaces. He wasn't waiting for permission. He was building an alternative. Decades later, Robin Townsend financed Hollywood Shuffle largely through personal sacrifices and self-funding. Spike Lee pieced together grants, family support, private contributions, and community relationships before She's Gotta Have It became a breakthrough success. Issa Rae built an audience before she built a budget. When people connected the awkward Black girl, crowdfunding became possible because the audience already existed. And then there's Ava DuVernay. Before directing major studio films, she was independently financing and distributing her own projects. She wasn't waiting for a traditional system to discover her. She was building momentum project by project. Later, she found Array, a distribution company dedicated to helping films by women and people of color to reach audience. And that's a very important part of this conversation. Because eventually, filmmakers realize funding isn't the only challenge. Getting the people to actually see the work can be just as difficult. A lot of conversations stop at raising money. But what happens after the movie is finished? Who sees it? Who controls it? Who profits from it? Who owns it? Those questions matter too. And honestly, that's one of the reasons I'm building Chaotic Styles. Not just to make projects, but to build assets. To build an audience, build a catalog, build distribution. Because every completed project becomes proof for the next one. Every viewer becomes leverage. Every film becomes part of the foundation. When I look at filmmakers like Oscar Micheaux, Robert Townsend, Spike Lee, Issa Rae, and Ava DuVernay, one thing stands out. They weren't simply trying to fund a movie. Funding matters, but building something sustainable matters too. Because sometimes the goal isn't just getting the movie made. Sometimes the goal is creating a system that helps you keep making them.